Dolphins fans, what's going on? Ben Morgan, Fins Up Network. Just got done watching day 3 of the on-field drills for the NFL Combine. Today was quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. But for purposes of today's video, I'm going to focus solely on tight end. Not that backup quarterback isn't the need, and wide receiver 3 duties behind Waddle, behind Hill. Trent Sherfield's not re-signed yet. We'll have to see what happens with Eric Azukama, a guy we got to watch in last year's combine. Not that those positions aren't important, but if Mike Gesicki walks in free agency, which we've been talking about it all offseason, it seems very, very unlikely that Gesicki's going to take a discount in Miami when the opportunities aren't there. So under the assumption he walks, he ends up in a different situation in free agency. Thought today's efforts would probably best focused on singling out the tight end. So we'll talk about them today. Real quick before I jump into these guys, I don't believe I have all the official 40s for the people that I pop up on the screen. Some of them are the unofficial numbers. I'm recording this one right after the TV broadcast got done. So if you really want to double check them, go and check those out as well. Let's pop in right away, though, with a guy that I don't foresee being on the board when the Dolphins are drafting at 51 overall in the second round. But we'll chat about it anyways because he was participating today. That's Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. He was good in the sled blocking, good in the tight end gauntlet. He did have one drop on a higher throw, but he is that do-it-all tight end. Like I said, I don't imagine him making out of the first round. He didn't blow up the combine today by any means. He slipped kind of bad in the second pass-catching drill, but to be fair, the field looked like a lot of people were slipping over the first 3 days, so not going to hold that against him by any means. I'm assuming his tape will take care of business on draft day. I'm going to go quick through him because I don't foresee him being available. But holy cow, Darnell Washington out of Georgia. I'm smitten. Maybe it's recency biasy out of just watching him. I already liked him, but I left today saying 100%. I'm cool with it if the Miami Dolphins were to take him at 51 if he was available. And I said if he's available, and that is going to be a big if because he was already projected, I would say, by most to not be available at 51. What he did today, though, solidified that. The dude looks like an absolute mammoth. And mind you, that's with him standing next to other extremely large human beings. He nearly pushed the tight end blocking sled. I think they were doing it at like the 35. Some people were struggling to even move the thing. They cut him off. He was going to push that thing to the 50-yard line. He was very incredible. He did have the lowest vertical of all tight ends, but I'm not putting a lot of stock into that. He's not a Mike Gesicki type. He's not a jump ball type of player, but that lower body strength, though, in that blocking sled was unbelievable. He crushed the tight end gauntlet. The dude's catch radius is absolutely huge. Looks effortless catching the ball. To be fair, that's a little bit unexpected. I thought maybe with that size, with that build, that he would struggle a little bit in that area. Not so much. And NFL Network actually put up a player comp, and I'm not a fan of player comps, but they can plug in the heights, the weights, the times, and spit out who, as in the combine, performed similarly in the past. And it came out with essentially a faster version of Mercedes Lewis, meaning, man, you got a long career. Man, you are good at blocking. You're like an extra tight end out there. And you saw what Mercedes Lewis did to us in that game against the Packers earlier this year. Nice catch down the side of the field. And that's exactly what Washington can do as well. And I buried the lead. He had the highlight of the day for the tight ends. In a tight end, kind of like a fade jump ball drill. In the first attempt that they threw to him, they basically threw it at his hip. He's ready to go up, and they threw it low. He didn't even bring it in. But, man, to end the drill, a one-handed catch in that drill. The second foot probably came down out of bounds. But he answered every single question and more. The dude is surefire to be in the first or second round at this point. I went longer on him than the rest just because I'm kind of smitten with him right now. This will be a quick one because Dalton Kincaid out of Utah did not participate, but also likely another guy that probably won't last to the Dolphins pick at 51. But if you look at him, he's a smooth route runner. He's good with contested catches. The thing is, he's not the world's strongest blocker, so I already kind of question him as a scheme fit with the Dolphins the way it is. But like I said, we might not even have to worry about that, with him likely off the board before the Dolphins are picking. Let's move on to Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. A guy I was super pumped about. I've talked about him already this offseason. I'll be doing a draft player profile on this guy because I really like his game. He did not participate in on-field drills today, and none of the blocking and receiving drills anyways, that I had noticed. It's unfortunate that he didn't, but keep in mind, he essentially missed all of 2022 with an injury. But man, you look at his tape, the thing that jumps off the screen, what I'd love to see him do today, he is a huge threat going down the seam. He opens things up for offenses and he can make those catches as well. He's an above average blocker. The numbers he did post today, well, as you can see, they're weighing in at what he weighed in, measuring as tall as he was, the 4'6", 140, decent vertical jump, nice broad jump. That's exactly what he needed to do by not participating on the field. So I'm a big fan of his. We'll be talking about him definitely more this offseason leading up to the draft as well. Sam Laporta out of Iowa, man, great hands catching in the tight end gauntlet. I needed to point that out. And it's not always about just being catching the ball in that tight end gauntlet, meaning you start on one sideline and you try to run right down the line. I'm talking about that drill and you catch passes from each other side. It's not always about it, but his hands catches and running that straight line were spot on in that drill. He hauled in a couple of deep passes on some drills. Solid day all around. He did have a drop in that jump ball drill as well. However, that's kind of his MO. He's known to have a drop here or there. But if you look at his tape, good blocker, basically Iowa's only playmaker over the last year or so. He's in that position to carry on tight end with George Kittle, with Noah Fant, with TJ Hawkinson. So a lot of pressure on him there to carry that on for Iowa, but I thought he looked pretty damn good today as well. And I got one guy left that I wanted to talk about today. And it's a guy that I've been telling you guys every time I put on his film, I like him more and more. And he had a couple of hiccups today. I'm talking Tucker Kraft, South Dakota State, small school guy there. He did bobble a ball in his first receiving drill. He did catch it. It was right down the seam. However, it wasn't very clean. He probably would have gotten smoked in an actual game. You want to see him bring that in without the bobble. Blocking sled, he had some pretty good reps there. Like I said, he didn't push it to the 50-yard line like Washington did, but I thought he did all right in that. He did have a drop in the tight end gauntlet, but we've talked about it. If there's an issue with Tucker Kraft, he'll drop a ball from here and there. He starts thinking about that next move. What's he going to do after the catch? And he'll drop that simple catch. My goal for him today was to not have a drop. And unfortunately, he had a drop in that drill. He slipped in one of the receiving drills. We've talked about people slipping as well. Did haul in a couple of deep passes, though, in some of the later receiving drills. Like I said, I wanted to see no drops, saw a drop, but he is the type of tight end that we've been talking about at this offseason. Not always about getting the ball deep down the field or like a jump ball situation like a Mike Gesicki type. Get him the ball often and then let him create. But damn it, you got to catch the ball. So I still like Tucker Kraft. Like I said, would have liked to see him without that drop there. But the story of the day, our boy, Darnell Washington. Man, pray. I don't know what we got to do to try to land him with the Dolphins. I think that ship probably sailed after the performance he put on today. But man, that was very impressive and a hell of a way to end the tight end drill with that one-handed highlight catch. Go back and check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. But that's what I've got. Let me know your thoughts as well. If you were able to check some things out from the combine, or if you've got tight end prospects in mind, go ahead, drop them in the comments. Curious to see your thoughts on the position heading into the draft as well. That's what I've got today. Tomorrow, the linemen and the running backs are on the field, thinking about kind of singling out the running back, since it's a little bit hard to judge offensive linemen in general, and then doing it at the combine is a chore in itself as well. So the running backs might be a little bit easier for us to pull off. But like I said, that's my time for today, Dolphins fans. Until then, Fins